In a certain kingdom, in a certain state on the seashore, such a story happened. The guys who had an interesting motorcycle with a sidecar bought a pig's head in a butcher shop, having previously asked it to be frozen properly. 2 days later, the seller delivered the frozen pig's head to their address. The guys loaded it into a metal tank, covered it with pieces of ice, and went to the sea. They also had a generator, a carbon dioxide cylinder, and a welding inverter in the sidecar of a motorcycle. In the surf, or rather next to it, they placed this incomprehensible unit. The pig's head was placed on a piece of rock, and began to act, as a result of which they wanted to get a sculpture of a pig's head of the correct anatomical shape. From the box in which the waste of the laser cutting of the pipe cutting machine and the headboard of the bed were located, which was deeply corroded due to the effects of salt winds and moisture coming from the sea, they began to act. One to one, welding these pieces of iron to each other, bypassing the smell of freed pork, they laid out the first line from the forehead to the beast's knuckle. Then, going down the knuckle through the mouth, they went to his lower neck, using the tools they had with them. To convey the angle of the pork nostrils, the guys used nuts with internal thread M12, which perfectly anatomically fit this design.
которые идеально анатомически подходили к данной конструкции.
The next item in the program is ears and lunch. Boil pork ears, roast dinner on coals.
Обед на углях зажарить.
The heat is terrible, so it's good when friends pour water on you. The truth is salty, and you are a welder, and you cook, but there is a coolness. By the way, there were flies, but I didn't feel any unpleasant smells except for this type of morning egg at my grandmother's house in the country as a child. Our piggy is more and more clothed in a metal shell, and in those places where its shape has a complex relief, it is necessary to bend the plates with the help of a dog and pliers. The asterisk dog is almost a pair of pliers. Pork's eyes, by the way, are small. They are even smaller than the gaps between our pieces of iron. I would not lose it when we are going to boil it all. We got so carried away with all this that we missed the sunset. You've closed the mask and you're cooking. You open the mask and it's already dark. Here's the deal. Now piggy is ready. And you can't take the pig's head out of the finished piece of iron. What to do? Cook. In the sense of cooking, we cooked everything. No, cook in a saucepan. Oh, cook in a saucepan, come on. We decided not to remove what fell out of our piece of iron and what used to be a pig's head for moral and ethical reasons. We just dug a hole, put it there, it flopped down there, and buried the earth again from above. First of all, of course, I began to want to give a nickel to pork properly. So we cooked it properly, and let's protect it, and let's protect it. And then a nickel appeared, and it became interesting. There is a nickel, and now the eyes are asking for it, but the eyes are not clear how to do it. These are the holes. This is the anatomically correct location of the eyes. And ears. They don't have any specific ears yet, and I think I'll give this contour with a piece of iron, so that it looks like a nose. A little evening meditation, and the ear is finished. Something freaked out and decided to brew all the holes. So soon the pig will be all in crooked seams. The hook that we took from Yuri Nikolaevich, if you remember, looks like fangs. What can I say? So there is still such a bend, but he is alone. Sawing along. Along. Here is an active piggy, and here is a passive piggy. The pig does not burn well with fire, and it infuriates me extremely. So I went to the store and bought all sorts of different puffed gas. I bought a few of these and a hose too. I really want to believe that tonight will turn out to be a normal pig puffing fire. Avocado, look at what a beautiful heart I built. I want my ears to burn, my eyes, maybe where the fangs are a little bit, and from the nose. And everything was fine, but I think I'll weld this partition here. Like there will be no fire escaping here, it will go into the ears. But unfortunately there is not enough air. Without regulating the gas flow is very incorrect. There is not enough gearbox on the cylinder. Gas teeth. As you can see, there are passages for gas inside. Nose, 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 look. Have you seen the nose? Crushing. It seems very boring, so I decided to add fire to it. That is, it burns a little in the nose, and you turn the steering wheel, and hence the flame. I bought 2 household burners. In this burner, which has a valve, there is a small nozzle. Let's see how it looks. This is the maximum. Carry this. Such a plan does not suit us. This thing doesn't fit here, so I had to buy a second small plate because this stuff is smaller on it, and it's so hopey here, and fits very well. Not that. Or that. Maybe even that. Yes, that. Screw in the big one. This little one, because the big one doesn't fit. This seems more interesting. That is, it turns out that usually something like this, and when you turn the steering wheel, and there is also an option, without an injector at all. So, free. This is more interesting, but there is no blowing, and probably goes out, although it does not go out. In short, you need to take the nozzle, and drill it almost to this diameter, so that the blowing effect is a little bit. While everyone is sleeping, I will unscrew the bull's head to integrate fire into it. So, the bull is in place. Now he has a torch here. It comes out of the torch, so this tube goes somewhere there and comes into this thing here. So this is the injection of the gas hands and the steering rods. For now, there is also a temporary improvised garbage that presses on this thing when you turn the steering wheel. Great traction. Stock can be said. It falls into its usual place, and we get the following story. We need to make two stoppers here somewhere. One of the extreme position of the wheel to the right, the second most important of the extreme position of the wheel to the left, so that this stuff works correctly and correctly with us. We unscrew and understand that we don't need to be able to turn any further. That's the maximum. And we are going here with welding and another bolt. In the end, this stuff worked. Now this is the dangling stuff. Clings in an extreme position. Here is this welded spout. And everything in general should work great. And now we need to tighten the clamps. I want to say hello to all those who say that the type of clamps should be twisted with a screwdriver, a ratchet. You don't feel the force with which you twist the clamps, you can tear off. Here's a hello to all of you from my ratchet. We open the valve with a lighter to carry-o. All right. And yes, I completely forgot to tell you, we have some problems with the wheel of the stroller here. One smart guy hit a concrete block, and now the wheel is rubbing against the rack. You can see his footprints right here. And you can also see that the tire is also rubbing. Everything is so complicated. I don't have any squeezers, springs, and most importantly, I don't have time. Therefore, I think that I will just cut off part of the rack with a grinder like this, because here the spring already just rises up, and in general does not concern. But the rubber band has a thickness, the piece of iron has a thickness. In short, I think everything will be fine. Well, everything is great. And at the same time, I want to answer the question of many. You got the rack wheels so much, and what would you do if they didn't fit here? That's what you would do. That's what we would do, please. A visual answer. I also thought that everything would be fine, but it's not like that, it's not like that. Here, if you insert a nut, then see. If you don't insert it, carry it. Well, a bad decision, but to go today. The effort is great, the nut will crumple. And brood, and with special sides will also crumple. Well, if the nut does not crumple, then it will definitely pop out somewhere in someone's eye, on some bump. Your burning pendant. But it shouldn't work. Here is a spacer, there are no touches here, and here is a bolt that holds the spring, well, just in case. It also rained here in between, and vegetation appeared in our grindstones. And it's just fucking awesome. Please take a look. It's growing, growing, growing. That's it. Even the mushrooms wilted. Well, right here is a lot. We will not fertilize, but we will water it. We haven't been filming for a while. During this time, all sorts of events happened, and we ended up in Uralsk in the mountains on the next stage. And so you and I, in general, have everything. Well, it's bursting with fire, right? That's kind of how he is with us. Now we will make the fire back smaller at once. you give the steering wheel to the left, you get the fire. Still very cool. Come here. The thing. I'll drown it out. The local guys gave us a very cool box. He was, however, had such a size, but now he has become smaller. I want it here somehow with a glove compartment, so geometrically wrong in sandalwood, so that it pleases passengers and drivers with its capacity. Here, well, there don't seem to be any special changes here anymore. It puffs, and not only if you give the steering wheel, but you can just give a little heat. Here, but let's move on to the pig. We have unfinished fangs here now. It now stands on a special stand, has a bunch of all sorts of wires, adapters and hoses. And we plan to work out a lot for her, so that Piggy is kind, useful and cool. Goodbye.